All right, shalom, shalom. This is the brother Shakar here with another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakak Badash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of the great millstone from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing his work with all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom. I'm going to start here in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and I'm going to start in verse 21. And I'm going to read it in the NLT. And it reads, it says, kill this man's children. Okay, what man is it speaking about? Speaking about Esau, man. Because this chapter is going into what? Babylon, man. You know, and there's many ways that you can link, okay, Edom, okay, with Babylon, okay, Esau, okay, and when you go right here into this verse, it says, kill this man's children, okay, speaking about the Edomites. It says, let them die because of their father's sins. Why? Because ultimately they are their fathers. It says they must not rise and conquer the earth, filling the world with their cities. See, they've already done that. Okay, and they've ruled in complete wickedness. So the time of their rulership is getting ready to come to an end. It says, this is what the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of heaven's army says, I myself have risen against Babylon. You see, so the Lord is against Babylon, and he's against Esau. It says, I will destroy his children and his children's children, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. It says, I will make Babylon a desolate place of owls, filled with swamps and marshes. I will sweep the land, see, with the broom of destruction. I, the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of heaven's army, has spoken. You see, so the Lord of heaven's armies, he's spoken, man. Okay, the Lord of hosts, man. Okay, he's getting ready to bring a terrible destruction upon Babylon the Great, in which right here in so-called America, this is where Esau is ruling out of. Okay, I'm going to read verse 23 in the King James. It says, I will also make it a possession, see, for the Bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, said the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of hosts. You see, when you go into that word Bittern, let's go into it. You know, it's going into this unclean birds. But when you go more into it, it's actually speaking. Let me see. Yeah, let me get it in the Wikipedia. And I'll read the latter part of it. It says, the word bittern, listen, came to English from Old French butor. It says itself from Gallo-Roman butaris, a compound of Latin buteo, see, buzzard, and Taurus bull. So when you go into those unclean birds, okay, what's going to be left here after the destruction? Okay, once so-called America is destroyed, okay, by that besom of destruction, which is going into what? That nuclear fire, okay, that destroying wind, okay, from the warheads, okay, during the time of World War III, man. This was getting ready to come to so-called America. But I want to go into that word buzzard, because really when you go into it, you know, I learned this myself. See, I thought a buzzard and a vulture, okay, was kind of the same thing, but it's really not. Because when you go into that word, let me see here. Yeah, it says here, are vultures and buzzards the same? And it says here, no, vultures and buzzards are not the same. And so they are often confused. Listen, especially in North America, where the vultures are sometimes called buzzards. It says buzzards are a type of hawk belonging to the buteo family, while vultures are a separate group of birds that primarily, eat carrion, see, dead animals. I'm going to keep reading here. It says buzzards. It says in North America, the term buzzard is often used incorrectly to refer to vultures, particularly turkey vultures. However, buzzards are actually a type of hawk, specifically those of the buteo genus. Listen, vultures are scavengers known for their habit of eating carrion, okay, dead things. Listen, they have a distinct appearance, often with featherless heads and necks and possess a strong sense of smell. Listen, to locate dead animals. Listen, the confusion. Listen, a misnomer of calling vultures buzzards in North America is believed to stem from early European settlers who mistakenly applied the term buzzard, which they used for hawks in Europe. See, to the vultures they encountered here, well, that they encountered in the Americas. I thought that was kind of, heavy, that you got these European settlers that they mistaked, okay, the vultures and called them buzzards. But hey, when this place is all said and done right here in the land of the North, okay, so-called North America, that's what you're going to have here, man. You're going to have them vultures, okay? You're going to have, the owls, the bittern, okay? Even the buzzards, man. You're going to have all these unclean birds, okay, to dwell here in so-called America, man. Unclean animals are going to dwell here. You see, and that's what's going to be left, okay, from the aftermath. So let's go back. Let's go ahead and go back. Actually, I want to go to, let me go to the book of Revelation. Chapter 18 and verse 1. Listen, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power. It says, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And that's that angel speaking about Yahweh Shai, man, when he comes with the host of chariots. Okay, they're going to come in glorious fashion. Okay, you're going to have Yahweh Shai in that father ship. Okay, that ship that was that's so big, okay, that Edris thought it was a mountain. Okay, then you're going to have them other ships, okay, following behind. It says, and he cried mightily, see, with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. See, and those devils, that's going into what? The unclean animals, okay? The desert creatures, okay? All the creepy crawlies, okay, that are going to be left here in so-called America, because there's not going to be, okay, one man, okay, that's going to be here. This place is going to be desolate, okay, of any man. It says, and the hold of every foul spirit, see, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. See, that's what's going to be left. This is the aftermath after so-called America, okay, gets destroyed. Let me go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and let's go to verse 32. Listen, it says, miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. Because right here is where you had Judah and Israel oppressed together. Right here in so-called America. It says, for as she rejoiced, see, at thy ruin, and was glad at thy fall, it says, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. It says, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. It says, for fire shall come upon her from the everlasting. What's that fire? That's that nuclear destruction. And, okay, the laser beams from the chariots. It says, long to endure. So, this place is going to burn for a long time. But once that fire burns itself out, all you're going to have left here, okay, is those unclean animals. Okay, the unclean birds. It says, and she shall be inhabited, see, of devils for a great time. You see? Because that's all that's going to be left here. You see, this place is going to be a desolate wilderness, okay, for the unclean animals, for the unclean birds, and so on and so forth. The Gila monsters, okay, all those desert creatures. Let me go to Isaiah, chapter 34. Actually, you know what? Let me get this I'm going to get it in the NLT. Isaiah, chapter 34, and let's start off in verse 4. Listen, it says, the heavens above will melt away and disappear like a rolled scroll. Okay, what's that scroll? That's that mushroom cloud. It says, the stars will fall from the sky like withered leaves from a grapevine, or shriveled figs from a fig tree. That's describing the warheads, man. Okay, that's what they're going to look like. They're going to look like stars falling. They're going to look like figs falling from a tree. It says, and when my sword has finished its work in the heavens, it will fall upon Edom. You see, the nation I have marked, see, for destruction. And you see, when you really go into these scriptures, okay, there's only two places, okay, that is described. Okay, there's only two places that is described, to be desolate, man. Okay, that's Edom and Babylon, Babylon the Great. They're synonymous. Actually, you know what? Let's get, before I continue on, let me get one precept. Let me go to the book of Psalms, just to link up Babylon the Great and the daughter of Babylon. Okay, well, the daughter of Babylon and Esau. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 7. Listen, it says, "Remember, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof." So they were yelling out, bring it down, bring it down. It says, "O daughter of Babylon, listen, who are to be destroyed." It says, "Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us." You see, so the time is coming of great recompense, man. Okay, there's going to be a time of revenge, okay, upon the nation, okay, that the Lord has cursed for destruction. It says, "Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones, see, against the stones." Hey, because this is what they did to our people. Okay, so the same thing's going to come back upon them. You see, and the Lord is with it. He has it here in the scriptures. It's written. You see, so those that they're going to be able to do that, and we're going to have a whole different mindset, man, because of what these devils have done, okay, to us as the people. Again, a recompense, okay, is coming. So this links up, okay, the daughter of Babylon, which is Babylon the Great, okay, with Esau. So let's go back, Isaiah 34, and let me go to I'll read verse 5 again. It says, "When my sword has finished its work in the heavens, see, it will fall upon Edom, the nation I have marked for destruction." It says, "The sword of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is drenched with blood and covered with fat, with the blood of the lambs," which is going to represent 2/3 of our own people, "and goats," okay, that's the Edomites, "with the fat of rams prepared for sacrifice." And that's the other nations, because this place of so-called America is going to be a big altar. It's going to be a big sacrifice, man. It says, "Yes, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will offer a sacrifice, see, in the city of Basra." Now, Basra, okay, was a capital city in ancient Edom, okay, but that represents so-called America today. It says, "He will make a mighty slaughter in Edom." It says, "Even men as strong as wild oxen will die." It says, "The young men alongside the veterans, the land will be soaked with blood, and the soil enriched with fat." So there's going to be a lot of death here, man. You know, that's why you're going to have, birds like them vultures, man. Okay, now, if there's anything, still left, okay, because that fire is going to be, hey, man, that fire is going to have to burn itself out. So there might not be, anything left, but it says the soil shall be enriched with fat. So you don't think them vultures are going to smell that? They're not going to smell that death? Yeah, they're going to smell it. It says, "For it is the day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's revenge, the year when Edom will be paid back for all it did to Israel." It says, "The streams of Edom will be filled with burning pitch, and the ground will be covered with fire." It says, "This judgment on Edom, see, will never end. The smoke of his burning will rise forever." Does that mean that it's going to keep burning forever and ever? No. But there's the memorial of it, okay, the memory of it, okay, because Esau is going to be an object, okay, of how not to conduct yourself. Okay, the things that the Edomites did, okay, that's going to be a memorial, okay, of not how, okay, to rule, man, okay, because they ruled in wickedness. So it's going to be a memorial of wickedness. It says again, "The judgment of Edom will never end. The smoke of its burning will rise forever." It says, "The land will lie deserted from generation to generation. See, no one will live there anymore. No human. Okay, no man, no woman. Okay, no child. Listen, it will be haunted by the desert owl and the screech owl, the great owl, see, and the raven." Okay, that's going to be the unclean birds, man. It says, "For the Most High will measure, see, that land carefully. He will measure it for the chaos, see, and destruction." I'm going to read it in the King James now. It says, "But the cormorant and the bittern, see, shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it, see, the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. So you're not going to be able to tell where anything was. You're not going to be able to tell where New York was, where the Grand Canyon was. No, this place is going to be totally uprooted, man, by that destruction. It says, they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And all her princes shall be nothing. Because there's going to be nothing left, man. All the people here in so-called America, okay, are going to be destroyed other than the elect. You see? It says, and thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be an habitation, see, of dragons and the court of owls. See, when you go into that word dragons, it says jackals. It says the ruins will become a haunt for jackals, see, and a home for owls. So it's going to be those unclean animals, man. It says the wild beasts of the desert also shall meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, it says, and find for herself a place of rest. See, in the satyr, that's going into what? It's like a mythological creature, half man, half goat. So, hey, the Lord's being poetic here, okay, letting you know that there's going to be no man is going to dwell, okay, upon so-called America ever again. It's going to be a place again for the desert creatures. Listen, there shall the great owl make her nest and lay and hatch and gather under the shadow. There shall the vultures, you see, also be gathered, everyone with her mate. See, in the NLT, it says, and the buzzards will come, each one with its mate. You see, but hey, the buzzard and the vulture, hey, like we read it earlier, they're two different. They're two different species of birds. You see, so there's gonna be a wide, okay, variety, okay, of unclean birds, man. You know, and they're gonna possess the land, man. Let me go to the book of Isaiah. We'll stay here in Isaiah, but let me go to the 13th chapter. Isaiah chapter 13, and let's go to verse 19. Listen, it says, and Babylon, see the glory of the kingdoms. It says, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. Now, who were the Chaldeans? Okay, the ancient witches and warlocks, okay, of Neo-Babylon. Okay, that's who was that today? Okay, that's the rulers, okay, of this wicked kingdom, man. Okay, beginning with the banking families. Okay, Esau. It says again, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. See, and we know what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. It says fire and brimstone, okay, rained upon it. It says it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. It says neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Okay, there's not going to be any man here, okay, or woman or child, man. Again, this is going to be a place, okay, for the wild beasts. As it's going to tell you, listen, but the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there. It says, and satire shall dance there. Again, the Lord is being very poetic, man, telling you that once that fire burns out, there's going to be nothing left, man. Okay, but these desert creatures, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time, listen, and her time is near to come, as her days shall not be prolonged. And so this place is done, man. It's almost through. Let me go to Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 16. Listen, it says, you know what? Let me see. Yeah, I'll start on verse 16. Because when you start at 7, it's talking about Edom, man. It's talking about Esau. Listen, it says, thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart. This matches up right with what? Obadiah, the book of Obadiah. It says, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Okay, the caveman. Okay, Esau. It says that holdest the height of the hill. Why? Because they're in that power seat position, man. But they're getting ready to be knocked, okay, off their high horse. It says, though thou shouldest make thy nest as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yehoshai. Again, They have satellites. Okay, they have their their space shuttles, and they claim they went to the moon. Okay, which is all a big lie. Okay, even though they've done all this, the Lord said, "What? I'm going to bring you down." Listen. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. See, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, see, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yoshai. It says, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. You see, again, there's going to be nothing left here, but the desert animals. Let's get one more. I'm going to get this in the GNT. Let's stay here in Jeremiah. I'm actually going to go to the next chapter, but I'm gonna read this in the GNT. Jeremiah chapter 50. And I'm going to start off in verse 33. This is Jeremiah 50, verse 33. It says, the Lord Almighty says, the people of Israel, and of Judah are oppressed. All who captured them are guarding them closely. They would not let them go. So right here in so-called America, you have all 12 tribes. They're not telling us who we are. They're not telling us the true names. The name of the Father and the name of the Son. No, they're keeping that from us. You see, but the Lord has revealed it. To those men. That are bringing out this word, this truth. You see, Judah and Israel. We're oppressed together, and that's right here in so-called America. It says, but the one who will rescue them is strong. His name is the Lord Almighty. He himself will take up their cause and will bring peace to the earth, but trouble to the people, of Babylonia. Listen, as you keep reading, again, it's going to link up Esau, with Babylon, man. Because again, only Edom and Babylon are described to be destroyed, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. You see, in ancient Babylon, or even the Neo-Babylonian time, they were not destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. You see, so this is speaking about a future Babylon. It says, the Lord says, death to Babylonia, death to its people, to its rulers, to its people of wisdom. Yeah, because what does the scripture say? It says they are wiser, than Daniel. That's why they do a diligent search, and the heart is deep, man. You see, they know Jake. They know Jake better than Jake, man. That's why they use and forward their witchcraft, to keep our people. That's all the Israelites. When I say Jake, I mean Jacob. All those from Judah, down to Issachar, are in that in that mind fuck, man. Being misled, by the falsehoods. The Lord said, what? Death to them. It says death to its lying prophets. So that, what do you have here? You got these lying church leaders, so-called church leaders. You got the liars of those of the circumcision, man. They're just prophets that were set up to lead the 2/3, to that path of destruction. It says, what fools they are. Death to its soldiers, how terrified they are. It says, destroy its horses and chariots. Death to its hired soldiers, how weak they are. It says, destroy its treasures, plunder and loot. It says, bring a drought on its land and dry up its rivers. It says, Babylonia is a land of terrifying idols that have made the fools of the people. See, the people have become fools, man, foolish. What did the Lord say? It said, my people are sottish, meaning being stupid, man. You see, sottish children, man. They know how to do evil, but to do good, they don't know how. Why? Because they believe all the lies, the falsehoods, that they've received, from the oppressor. And now they take on the ways of all these nations, especially when it comes to Esau. It says, listen, and Babylon, will be haunted by demons and evil spirits, and by unclean birds. It says, never again will people live there, not for all time to come. Again, it's talking about Babylon. The Lord said the same thing about Edom. So they're synonymous. They're linked. It says the same thing will happen to Babylon that happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. It says, when I destroy them and the nearby towns, it says, no one will ever live there again. I, the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yoshai, has spoken. You see? So that's what it's going to be, man. When so-called America is destroyed, all you're going to have left here is what is a possession of the bittern. Okay, those unclean animals. You see? And it's going to be a wasteland. Okay, a memorial of wickedness. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I'm going to close out and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Badash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of the great millstone from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing his work with all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the whole full elect. Shalom.